Eternium, Mage and Minions on today's Wednesday Morning Drive. Hey everybody, Matt Cribbs here, and welcome back to another Wednesday Morning Drive. How are you doing? I say the exact same thing every time, don't I? It's habit. I'm doing great. It is February in New Jersey, and I'm not even wearing a coat. It's a little bit ridiculous. We're going through a warm spell right now, but hey, some people enjoy it. I much prefer my weather to be consistent in my seasons, but it is what it is. Hope you had a great week. I sure did. I've been playing a new game. That's right. It is the second episode in our little mini-series here on Wednesday Morning Drive, reviewing Android role-playing games. Last week's was Heroes of Incredible Tales, or HIT. Go check it out. Maybe if I remember, I'll throw an annotation or a thingy, whatever that thingy is, up somewhere. This week, it's a different game, although slightly similar in concept. The game I played last week, if you've read the title, you already know, is Eternium, Mage and Minions. It's made by Making Fun, and it's the same kind of dungeon crawly, kind of Diablo-esque style game, where you play a series of levels and you collect more gear so that you can play increasingly harder levels, to collect increasingly better gear, to play, etc., etc. And it's very much along those veins. You have, 3 different character classes that you can choose. You can either be male or female, so you do get to pick that. And it is a warrior, a bounty hunter, and a mage. Since it's Mage and Minions, I suppose the mage would be the main. I don't know. I picked a bounty hunter, so I suppose that makes me a minion. But it's a cool class. It's got 2 guns, so I was going and firing my guns around, playing the game, killing skeletons, killing all sorts of things. Kind of standard mechanics. You grab gear, you can enhance your gear with gems. You have skills that you use. You can level up your skills. One of the mechanics they use, instead of having a little virtual joystick or thumbstick and buttons that you press to do your skills, you tap to move, and you draw little characters on the screen to do your skills, which is kind of cool for the first 5 minutes, and then you realize, well, crap, that means I can't hold my phone in one hand and actually, use my skills, so you're stuck with two-handed gameplay, which I suppose if you're sitting down is a problem. Sometimes I'll lay down and I'll have my head propped up, and I want to do one hand. It kind of works if you can prop up the phone right. It works. It's kind of fun. I suppose it lets you target groups of enemies better, although, my fingers are not that big. And even on I have a Galaxy Note, so it's got a big screen out there. The granularity is not really enough to be able to control very finely which enemies you're targeting with this. So it's cool, but ultimately, the mechanic wasn't, it's not standout. It's not enough to say, oh my gosh, you have to play this game. But it is kind of cool. You do have the ability to get minions, companions, that join you on the quest. The ones I got were I got a range dude that I don't use because I'm ranged, and there's a healer and a warrior that helped me, and their skills are extremely useful, and you can trigger their skills just like you can trigger your own. One of my favorite tactics was use a little healer, has a little thing that you can group all the enemies up, and then I'd fire off my rapid shot and basically, group everyone on the screen in and kill them. So that worked very effectively. You can craft gear, you can do all sorts of things, kind of a lot of the standard mechanics. One of the things I really, really liked when I started playing this game is that it actually starts off with a lot of the features disabled. And not only disabled, they don't even appear. They don't even appear on the screen. So it was a little bit weird because I join in, I'm like, oh, this game really doesn't have a lot of options. That's unusual. Because most games you log in and you're a whole like, oh, this is a nuclear control panel thing full of buttons and things, and oh my gosh, and you have to figure out one by one what each of them are. This one, it starts off pretty bare bones. You have very, very little on the screen, and then as you go through the intro levels, which are always a sort of tutorial in these games, you start getting more and more elements of the UI appear, and you can use them, which is a really cool way, an easy way to introduce you to the game, because you're learning, one new mechanic, one new thing at a time, and you don't really, get overwhelmed by the options. So that I really, really liked the way they introduced that to the introduce the user to the way the game plays and all the different options and features and stuff. Although it was a little off-putting to open up the game and get like barely anything. So that's that. As far as gameplay goes, it's the storyline is told, at least what I've seen, in basically just text on the screen. I don't know if there's a voice overlay because I normally play these with the sound off. So if you want to know about the sound of a game, I'm the wrong person to ask. Actually, technically, I normally play these while I'm listening to some kind of music or podcast, and then the sound of the game is off. So it's only told through that. There's no like real cutscenes. There's no, so it's a little. If you're like me, I tend to kind of skip when there's a whole bunch of text on the screen, or just glance over it. And so the story seems okay. It was nothing like, oh my gosh, earth-shattering, or wow, this is really cool. It just, it was there. It was a story to facilitate the killing and mass slaughter of creatures. The graphics are also, I would say they're pretty okay. They're 3D, fully 3D, and I think for phones it's low poly, but they're kind of like Quake-esque if you go back to like what the polygon, what the characters and everything look like in that. The equipment does change the way you look, which is good. The one thing I was disappointed about that made it kind of seem off is some of the relative sizing of elements of equipment. For example, my character looks really, really cool and BA when I'm wearing a hat. And of course the guns are huge, like the guns are longer than my forearms, but that's a stylistic choice. And I look really cool when I'm wearing a hat. But when I put on a hood, which is my current best, head gear, when I put on the hood, I look like a Q-tip. My body is really thin, and the head is just gigantic. And I don't know if that was just stylistic or they wrapped. They like wrapped the hood around the character's head, which was already true, and I suppose that's how it would look, but it looks really strange. And there were a couple places I noticed where the texture work was just bad. Most noticeably on the face of the warrior NPC dude that I got following me. His face looked like it was kind of like a plane with a little nose notch thing cut out in his mouth. And it was like his face is just a smear with kind of a darker spot where the mouth is. Not really a texture, a well done texture at all on that. But the rest of them are good. The capes look awesome as you're running around, and so I'd say they're mostly good. They're solid, especially for a free-to-play game. But they're not outstanding. So let's see, gameplay, graphics, intro, story. The gameplay is fun. I mean, you go around, you click on that. It does tend to get a little bit repetitive between the zones. There's not enough variation in that. It is... sometimes I was just like, ugh. go grind through some more, grind through this level again, because that's how you progress. You go through a level, and then you go through another level, and you go through another until you hit a wall into a level that's too high for you, and then you go grind through the previous levels you had up to 5 times to get more gems, and it did feel a little bit grindy at times, but the actual monster slaying when you first start it is just great fun, and you go nuts and destroy mass quantities of monsters. As far as the free-to-play aspects, it is free-to-play. You can just download it and play it. The in-game currency for a lot of things is gems, and you can get more gems by watching ads that pop up from little containers. You kill certain mobs or you kill certain mobs in the quest, and you get little containers that you can tap on, and then you can watch a video. It's pretty disruptive to the gameplay experience because it is in the middle of the missions. I kind of wish there was like a daily unlock to watch an ad or two to get gems, because sometimes I'm like, no, I'm just having fun playing, I don't want to watch this, but you kind of have this feeling like, oh, but I need the gems, so I gotta watch this video, and I wish there was an alternate way to do that other than spending money. The ads are, I think, the longer of the ones you can get in these little interstitials in games. It seems to me, and I don't really know behind it, but it seems to me that you can either get like 30-second long or 20-second long or shorter ones. The ones I got always seem to be the longest. But hey, that's the ones they have, and they got to make their money somehow. You can also buy certain pieces of gear and packs and stuff with actual dollars. They had one that was like an intro gun priced at 99 cents, which I think is a sweet price point. Under $1, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I'll try it, see if it is, and that's pretty much the only thing I bought. So I do think they have a good strategy for pricing around various price tiers of cheap single use or single item things, and then more expensive packs. So overall, I would say it's good, although I do think the pace at which you get gems in free-to-play versus the number of gems that things cost is really, really high. It takes a lot of grinding and a lot of video watching to pretty much get any quantity of gems that are worthwhile. You get 5, I think, per video, and things cost thousands of gems to unlock. So, yeah, it's lots of video grindy, unless you're paying. So, I do wish it could be tuned a little lower as a player, but I don't know what that would do to their income. So, that's always the balance. Overall, I think it is a fun game. Definitely enjoyed the time I have it. I don't know if I'm going to delete it quite away. It's kind of fun to hop in and just hack, and then hop out. So there aren't, extended things that you get sucked into all the time. You can just hop in and out pretty quick. Don't know if it's going to earn a permanent place on my phone or not. Overall, I'd give it a solid, yeah, it's good. I should really come up with a rating system for these. I don't know. Let me know some good, clever rating scales that you could have. This one is a solid, yeah, it's good. So that's that. I'll pick another game for next week. I'm not sure yet which one it's going to be. I'll do some digging in the App Store. Let me know if you have any of your favorites that you'd like to see what my take is on them. And until next week, keep adventuring. I'll see you then. Bye.